Despite being a bad year for the world, 2020 saw a lot of improvement in Star Citizen, from the addition of the new Babbage landing zone to loads of new features like the player status system and a revamped inventory system, to the addition of new ships such as the Cutlass Blue and Red variants and the ever-anticipated Mercury Star Runner. CIG has not let this pandemic give them a reason to slack on the development of the game we all know, love, and sometimes love to hate. I have talked a lot about Star Citizen on my channel, but I have realized now that I have never truly explained what Star Citizen is. So today I would like to take the time to show you around the verse, tell you about the game, and later get into what the future may hold for all of us in this future masterpiece of a game. My name is Eternal Pain, and if you like to stay up to date with Star Citizen's development, ship reviews, and everyday tips and trick guides to how to survive in the verse, you have come to the right place. So consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any more of my videos. And with all of that being said, let's get into today's topic. Now, regardless of what you may have heard about Star Citizen, whether it be playable, not playable, unfinished, full of bugs, some of it may be true, some of it's not so true, and some of it's just from people who absolutely despise the game, who don't understand what CIG is actually trying to accomplish. Star Citizen is a game that is currently in the alpha stage of its development, and later on is intended to be an MMO/simulator that gives you an almost second life among the stars, if you will. The final project is intended to be a sandbox style game where you can go anywhere, do anything. Your actions affect other players' experiences in the verse and the in-game economy, same as any other player's actions may affect your experience in the verse. I truly believe in this game. Yes, there are a lot of things I currently don't like about it, but I also understand that CIG is a relatively small studio trying to develop a massive undertaking of a game. They have had to develop a lot of the core tech from scratch. They have developed their own game engine to run the game, and they have completely designed all of their assets from nothing. So I do understand why it has taken so far almost a decade just to get to the point that they are now. With all of that being said, I would like to start the tour, if you will, of the verse. I'm going to show you the locations, tell you a little bit about them, show you a few things that you can do in the game, and then later on I will get on to the developments that we are looking forward to in 2021. So without further ado, let's start with one of my most popular hangouts, Hurston. Hurston is home to the company of Hurston Dynamics, hence the name of the planet that it is on. The landing zone on Hurston is Lorville, and they have many shops, but you won't find a weapon shop here because technically weapons are not allowed inside Lorville past the spaceport. One thing you'll notice about the planet of Hurston is that it is pretty much a desolate wasteland after half a century of weapons testing and runaway industrial pollution. The once thriving savanna that covered the planet at one time no longer exists except for in small patches, and even those small patches of savanna are littered with scrap from destroyed ships and just broken down equipment. The planet of Hurston has 4 moons, all of which are named after former CEOs of Hurston Dynamics. There is Aberdeen, Ariel, Ida, and Magda, all of which have different mineable elements scattered across the entirety of each moon. And if you're looking for a good place to go mining with a rock, you want to try either Ariel or Aberdeen, as in these are 2 of the places where you can find the most hadnite or time spent. Moving on to the next stop on our journey, gas giant Crusader is another place that I frequent in the verse, mainly because there is a lot of good mining in the Crusader system. The planet of Crusader itself is not fully realized at the moment because they are trying to complete the gas cloud mechanics to really sell the gas giant look. As of right now, they have a placeholder in a giant textured ball floating in space. But if you look close enough, you can actually see that that texture is a moving texture. So they give part of the illusion, it's just not fully realized yet. The planet of Crusader is actually owned by Crusader Industries, which is a ship manufacturer who is responsible for ships like the Hercules Starlifter and my favorite ship that I own, which is my Mercury Star Runner. I love the Crusader Industries design schemes, and I am hoping to see more ships added by them in the future. A notable location in the Crusader system is the very first station that people used to see when they logged into the game for the first time, and that is Port Olisar. Port Olisar is one of the more iconic locations in the game, being that it used to be where every noob started their journey, which honestly, that's where I started my journey for the first time I ever logged into Star Citizen, well before I started making videos. In today's Star Citizen, it's a place that most of us experienced players will tell you to stay away from because a lot of griefers like to hang around that area and just make your day very bad by forcing a crime stat on you and then hunting you down and throwing you in prison. So if you can stay away from Port Olisar, stay away from Port Olisar. But for right now, Port Olisar stands as the placeholder for the landing zone that will later be floating in the clouds above Crusader once the gas giant tech is fully realized. Crusader itself has 3 moons, and that is Selin, Delamar, and last but certainly not least, Yela. Yela is my favorite of these moons, and I'm sure it's a favorite of a lot of other miners in the game because it has an asteroid belt that surrounds the planet and is full of valuable materials such as quantanium, agresium, laranite, and whatever sort of materials you dream of finding. Hell, even if you're looking for gold, it's not that profitable, but I'm sure you'll find a lot of it. Now, Crusader's moons in general are very profitable as far as the materials that the moons hold, but if you're mining around Yela, there's one little section that you might want to stay away from sometimes because it's a lawless outpost that circles around the planet in the asteroid belt known as GrimHEX. GrimHEX is designed to be a safe haven for the dirtiest of the dirty, the piratiest of the pirates, and it's also a location where a lot of people like to forcibly goat you into a PvP scenario, whereas a lot of newer players probably won't like this because in a lot of cases when I have been engaged by somebody, even though I was minding my own business, it has been a 2 or 3 on 1 scenario where I have had to clear the asteroid belt and then try to jump away before they blew up my ship. Thankfully, in recent weeks, I have acquired a Mercury Star Runner, so my ship can take quite a beating before it just gives out and goes kaboom. But a lesser player that might be stuck in an Aurora or a Mustang or even a 100i, yeah, you're gonna have a problem. So do be warned, if you approach GrimHEX alone, there be monsters here. Now, another interesting location that is currently in the Stanton system that shouldn't be in the Stanton system is a planetoid from the Nyx system called Delamar. It is home to the landing zone of Levski, and once the Nyx system is introduced into the persistent universe, Delamar will be moved to its proper location. But for now, for some reason that I'm not quite sure of, they decided to tack it on to the Stanton system. I'm sure there's an article somewhere on the website as to why they did that, but I've just been too lazy to look it up. So if you're curious, I will put a link down below to the website so that you can find that article for yourself. Also, to make it a little easier on the viewers, if there's any devs by chance watching my video, which I highly doubt it at this stage in my YouTube career, or if there's anyone watching the video who knows why this is, just post it down in the comments so that my curiosity can be satisfied and my viewers' curiosity can be satisfied. I thank you for your help. Moving on to my second favorite planet in all of the Stanton system, mainly because I'm a giant Star Wars fan, is the Coruscant-like planet of ArcCorp. The planet of ArcCorp is owned by, you guessed it, ArcCorp. ArcCorp is a multi-industry company that specializes in, to name a few, mining, ship manufacturing, and exploration industries. The entire planet of ArcCorp is covered in one giant city, and ArcCorp itself is the most industrialized planet in all of the UEE. UEE standing for United Empire of Earth, which is the human faction in the future Star Citizen universe. I highly recommend checking out this area because it reminds me of the movie Blade Runner with its interesting design style. And you can see that clear inspiration as you're flying through the city on the local area transit in full effect. There are a few shops that are hidden in Area 18 if you don't know where to look for them, and I am not going to tell you where they are because I had to find them for myself and I felt like an idiot when I finally realized they were there. So I'm going to let you fumble and do the same, but I'm sure you'll just leave this YouTube video and immediately go to another YouTube video to tell you where they are, because you're probably smarter than me. And that's okay, because I'm confident in my stupidity. ArcCorp has two moons of its own, and those are Lyria and Walla. Both of these are good spots for mining with the Prospector. I'm not too sure about mining with the Rock though, seeing as how I've actually never brought my Rock to either one of these planets. Something to keep in mind about most of the moons in this game is a lot of the time the only thing they're good for is picking up certain goods and minables. Unless you consider yourself an explorer, and then there are tons of places to explore just in the Stanton system alone, and you'll be thrilled to know that there are about 100 more star systems intended to be implemented into the game at a later date. As far as these two moons go, Walla looks similar to the moon that we have around Earth, and Lyria is actually kind of interesting in the way it looks, as it looks like a pastel painting just floating in space. And now moving on to my favorite planet in the Stanton system, Microtech. It is the farthest one from the star, out way past Erin's Halo, which is the asteroid belt that surrounds the innermost planets of the Stanton system. The planet of Microtech is owned by the tech company of Microtech. They develop technologies such as the Moby Glass that you have on your wrist so that you can interact with your comms, your star map, your weapons loadout, your armor loadout, and even send money to other players. The unique climate on the planet of Microtech was a result of a terraforming accident that actually caused some of the planet to be a nice, hospitable temperature, and other parts of the planet to be a sub-zero nightmare for anyone who would dare to walk into them without a spacesuit, at least one that's equipped to the task. The unique climate of Microtech actually allows for large data centers to be plotted all over the planet, and it'll keep them cool because we all know with a large amount of servers in an area, you need to keep a room pretty cool to make sure that those servers don't overheat, corrupt data, malfunction, things like that. So the terraforming accident actually helped the company in the sense that it gave them free air conditioning. with the purchase of the planet. Now, the planet of Microtech actually has 3 moons surrounding it, and all of them are ice cold, varying slightly in terrain, but for the most part, they're covered by giant masses of ice, and 1 or 2 of them have a couple lakes dotted here and there, and maybe an ocean. I haven't fully explored the moons of Microtech, but I plan on doing just that one of these days when I decide to put on my Arctic Explorer cap and go for a walk. These 3 moons are, in no specific order, Clio, Calliope, and Euterpe. There are locations on these moons where you can pick up medical supplies to trade. There are gases that you can pick up to trade here, and there are even a couple good mining spots for prospectors on these moons, but I'm going to keep that to myself because I'm greedy, as I've said before. So that does it for the planets and moons in the Sand system, but there are more places that you can explore. There are space stations that orbit every planet for the most part. In these space stations, you can find food courts, weapon shops, armor shops. Some space stations have cargo decks that you can explore, but they're not functional right now, that were introduced in Alpha 3.11. Other space stations that were more recently updated are enveloped in gas clouds and certain Lagrange points that have refinery decks attached to them, which are functional right now and allow you to get more profit for your mined goods by refining them and then hauling them to a landing area and selling them for a higher price. I have a video on the entire mining and refining loop that I will link in the description below, and I will put a card at the top of the screen if you are interested in learning about how that loop works. Other than the different space stations around the verse, there are also outposts scattered all across the planets and the moons where you can pick up commodities, you can call out ground vehicles, you can refuel and restock your ship at these different outposts if you can land on the pad correctly and not get an error message. Which, since 3.12 has hit, I actually haven't had an issue with that even once, so I think they fixed it, or maybe I'm just extremely lucky. I don't know. Tell me down in the comments, because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't read the patch notes. There is currently a plethora of different mission types that you can do in the game. There are some missions that pay more than others, some missions that take you on a journey to explore different areas, like package delivery missions. There are missions for patrols where you can help the security forces of a particular planet patrol the area and sniff out criminals and eliminate the threat. There are more unprompted job opportunities like mining and cargo hauling in the game right now, which are things that you have to actively seek out, and they have a huge learning curve because you have to learn where to pick up certain commodities or where to mine certain minerals and how to use the vehicles to mine. Also, cargo hauling in general is a very high risk, high reward profession, because if the server crashes or if your computer crashes, then you're probably going to end up losing a lot of money. So bear that in mind if you decide to go after a cargo hauling profession. And that's just a taste of what is available in Star Citizen at the beginning of 2021, after the entire year of 2020's development has added substantial features to the game. Now, as far as the development schedule for 2021 goes, I'll just say a few quick words about this because I know this video is getting kind of long. This year, we're expecting to get major updates to the game for server stability, for replayability, for content drops, for a lot of different things, a lot of groundbreaking tech in the game itself. iCache is a huge thing that will improve server stability because it will finally allow them to start working on server meshing and hopefully get better long-term persistence in the game, which will also open them up for adding the 2 new star systems that have been teased for later on this year, being the Pyro system and the NIC system. I'm hoping all of the things that are currently on the roadmap, and I will place a link down in the description to the Star Citizen roadmap, come into the game, and I hope they don't get too delayed this year. But to be honest with you, with the amazing year we had last year with updates on Star Citizen, I see no reason to believe that CIG would hold back on anything now, because they have opened a new studio that is devoted solely to designing and putting out new star systems. They are working every day to fix bugs and better implement the technologies that they need to make this game a true and full reality. And I'm hoping either sometime this year or early next year, we finally get that first glimpse of the standalone campaign of Squadron 42. It's a highly anticipated thing, and as much as I love the persistent universe, I can't wait to see what they can do in a fully cinematic campaign adventure set in the Star Citizen universe. Because if the experiences that I have had in the persistent universe are any indication as to what they can do for a full game with story and all, I am excited to see what that will look like. In my next video, I will touch on some of the roadmap and some more things that we can expect this year in Star Citizen. But I'm going to end this one right here because I know it's getting a little long and you're probably tired of hearing me drone on and on and on about a game that's not finished yet. But all of that being said, I have been Eternal Pain, and if you liked this video, consider subscribing to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and leave a comment down below to let me know how I did. Above all else, citizens, remember to have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys next time in the verse.